So for this session, we will learn raw material inventory system. We have two kinds of inventory system. First is your perpetual, and second is your periodic. So the difference between the two is that in the perpetual inventory system, you maintain stock cards. Okay? So you maintain stock cards for each type of materials. So you do this because you want to determine the inflow, outflow, and the balance of your material in relation to the quantity as to amount and as to peso amount. And to check and reconcile your inventory stock card and your raw material inventory ledger balance, to determine its accuracy, you have to perform physical count periodically. Sometimes you do this at the end of the year or whenever the management intends to do so. So that is your check and balance. So for your periodic, you do not maintain stock cards here. The only way you know the balance of your raw material inventory is through a physical count to determine the units on hand. So you determine the units on hand by multiplying the latest unit cost available. Also, note that under this method, the cost of materials issued is not directly determined. It is indirectly computed by deducting the remaining inventory in hand from the total available for use. So here are your pro-forma journal entries for your purchase of raw materials and your issuance to conversion process. So first, for your purchase of raw materials, you debit raw materials inventory and you credit either accounts payable or cash. So the cost of raw materials is debited to raw materials inventory when the materials are received, meaning when you receive it from your supplier. This account is debited for the invoice cost or the purchase price of the inventory itself and the freight cost, so the transportation costs, which is chargeable to the purchaser, which is us. The purchaser is us. It is credited for purchase discounts and purchase returns and allowances. So these are your deductions to your cost. Upon receipt of the materials, the inventory clerk updates the inventory ledger and stock card. After all postings have been made, the balance in the raw materials inventory account should equal to the sum of the balances in the raw materials ledger card. So this is your pro forma entries for your purchase of raw materials. So in case there are, let's say, defects or there are damaged goods in the materials received, you have to perform a purchase returns. So your entry for that would be a debit to your accounts payable or cash, and you credit your raw materials inventory. Just a reverse entry for this. So when time comes when you have to convert your raw materials into finished goods, it will be transported into the work in process account. So when raw materials are issued to production, you credit your raw materials inventory, okay, and you debit your work in process for direct materials and any manufacturing overhead that relates to indirect materials. So raw materials are transferred from the warehouse to the production department. A material requisition form completed by the production supervisor is the basis for the raw material inventory clerk for the release of the materials. A copy of the material requisition form goes to the accounting department as basis for recording the issuances and for entering the direct material cost to the individual jobs in process. So we have successfully issued the raw mats to the production process, but sometimes it happens that there is a wrong production forecast. Let's say the production supervisor initially requested for 1,000 units of material A, but after careful examination, when they received the 1,000 units of material A, the production supervisor determined that they just need 500 units of material A. So what the production supervisor has to do is that he will again reverse the entry for the issuances. So he will debit raw materials inventory and credit work in process and manufacturing overhead for 500 units.